Howdy to the Never Ending Technology Issues podcast. Actually, this is the Political Patriot podcast. I think this is, I don't know, like episode number 10. I don't know. Anyway, just going to use my laptop because it says you can record OneStream if you're going through your computer browser. So my laptop sits on my desk where my work laptop is. It's been sitting there plugged up for weeks. I've been using it. I unplug it and bring it out here. Battery's got 6% on it. I don't know. It's been plugged up for weeks. It's enough to make you want to drink. So I am Uncle Nearest and Dearest. Uncle Nearest, Shelbyville, Tennessee. Nearest Green was a bourbon distiller. It is now not distilled by Uncle Nearest Spirits, but I paired it a few weeks ago, so I kind of vaguely remember the story. It is now distilled at another distillery, but by Uncle Nearest employees, and there's no touching of the other spirits. There's no commingling, so it is the real deal. This is Uncle Nearest 1884. It is 93 proof, which may not be enough for the day I'm having. I did go to Total Wine today though, for a bit of good news. So anyway, my wife and I went to Target, and there was some good news. Yeah, I thought she said it was $210 at the checkout, and I was looking at the receipt when I got in the truck, and I'm like, holy shit, that was $310. Merry Christmas. And I got a Arturo Fuente variety pack. I'm going to be doing some pairings with some of Arturo's wonderful cigars. This one is the Hemingway Signature 1. It is a Perfecto. Hemingway is my favorite author, not only because he's an outstanding author, but his love for spirits equals mine. So anyway, I'm going to be kind of just moving on today because I'm trying to keep this stuff manageable as far as time goes. Last time, I think I had like 6 words left, and it cut off because OneStream only lets you do an hour. And I went to like an hour and, I don't know, 45 seconds, something like that. But anyway, that's some lovely, lovely aromas and taste coming off of the unlit stick. It's a nice barnyard, a little hay, kind of some maybe some chocolate or yogurt covered raisins on the cold draw. That's a really good stick. But what do we? Oh, let me give you a little taste of the grain. That is really good. 93 proof. It does not have a tremendous amount of whiskey burn or anything in it like that. It's got a nice sweet flavor to it. From a bourbon has to be 51% or more corn to be considered bourbon, and that is a little higher than that. So anyway, why am I here today? Well, I've been watching the Twitter feed all week. X feed, I don't know, it's just Twitter. Whatever. And I've been kind of debating with people about Doge and the whole cost-cutting initiatives and everything. Uh, and there's so much that can be cut, and I'm kind of doing some work over here on the side on my computer that I've managed to get out here and get plugged up. So, but then I couldn't get the freaking camera to work, so I'm over on the iPad, which is where I had my stuff pulled up that I was going to talk about. So I seem to get more and more of those days, you know. But anyway, it's the way it is. So there, and they, I mean, their heart's in the right place. It is. But like with a lot of other things, when you get political, a lot of it is talking points, and those talking points get parroted. Hey, yeah, that's not smoke coming out of my mouth. It's that chili here in Texas. It's in the 40s. Uh, but and so people regurgitate things, and they don't ever really think about what they're regurgitating. They're just regurgitating what they hear. Uh, and one of the things that seems to be getting regurgitated more and more and more is we need to get those federal workers back in the office and back to work. They need to be working. They're laying at home on the couch, eating bonbons, watching reruns of Jerry Springer. No, they're not. Trust me, I know. I know. I know firsthand, put it that way. And so I'll ask people, okay, well, if you make all the federal workers come back into the office, what's that going to do? Well, right away, 30% of them will quit. That'll be the ones that the slugs, the do-nothings. Would they really? Think about it. You want to say on the one hand how hard it is to get fired from a government job, but on the other hand, you want to say people will quit simply because they have to go back in the office if they're not a productive worker. Why would they quit and go out into the private sector, which is supposed to be much? Woman's having a problem with her dog. I don't know what kind of dog she got over there, but he's growling and barking all the damn time, and apparently he's getting worse. But anyway, back where I was. If you have to go to the private sector, you're generally going to be, uh, held to the private sector standard, right? Which is apparently from, well, it's hard to get fired from a federal job, but apparently it's pretty easy to get fired from a private sector job. So why would they want to go out there and put themselves through that? Just go back in the office. The ones that would leave are the ones that are the actual producers, the ones that work hard and do their job, and they're like, screw this. I'm making, and I know from firsthand experience, making $20,000, $30,000 less a year than I could make in the private sector. But the government benefits are really great, and I get to work from home. I go back out to the private sector. Well, I may not get to work from home all of the time, but at least I'd still get to work from home maybe part of the time, and I'd make more money. Oh, we're getting off the perfecto end now. We're starting to get into the meat of the cigar. This is a good one. Lady, she needs to get rid of that dog. I don't know. Anyway, so while and see the 30% just gets regurgitated. You can't find where that number came from. Somebody just said it. It's because they just took a guess. It was like, oh, 30%, that sounds good. Not too low, not too high. It's believable. But the ones you would lose would be really the ones you want to stay. The ones that care enough about the job and care enough about the benefits that they're afforded, like working from home, to want to do a good job. We're going to get into the rest of the budget in a little bit, but now I want to roll. So I'm like, well, show me where that would be true, where the people that are the slugs would be the ones that would leave and go out into private sector jobs where they get fired much more easily. They can't, because they don't have anything to back it up. It just sounds good. I have some things to back it up, though. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, government agency, who we tend to look to whenever their statistics say what we want them to say, right? Isn't that the way it all works? So here I am. The Bureau of Labor Statistics put out a report 6 weeks ago, October of 2024, recently. And what did they say? Boil it all down. They said that employees that work from home tend to be happier, more productive, and have a better, what's the word I'm trying to say? Come on, help me. A better view of their employer. They think more highly of their employer. Why? Because they're given this awesome benefit to work from home. So they don't have to, like in some instances, firsthand, 2.5 hour, 2 hour, somewhere between 2 and 2.5 hour round trip to work and back. Because there's not many, if any, government offices in rural America. They're all in the big cities, right? You might have a small Department of Agriculture office or something like that out in the farm country. But generally, like, you're not going to find Treasury, Justice, all of those. They're going to be conglomerated into the major cities. Take Tennessee is a good example. I live in Texas. Tennessee, there are federal offices in Memphis, Nashville, Knoxville. That's the 3 major cities. And actually, I'm not even completely certain about Knoxville. I know for a fact Nashville and Memphis. But generally, the offices that are actually in Memphis, they tend to be smaller, except for the IRS. There's a large IRS facility where they process in town, where they process stuff. But typically, and Memphis is not a small place. The Memphis metropolitan area is over 1 million people. So you're not talking rural, but still not. I don't know, Memphis may be in the top 50 as far as city size, but they're losing people every day. And now they got Trinidad Agua in there. Yeah, it's probably going to get smaller. Okay, back where I was going. So, all right. Y'all know I'm a big time Texas Aggie. Whoop, dig home. And we fought hard against Texas a week or so ago, and we came up short 17-7. I don't know that I've ever been a Georgia Bulldogs fan, but the Dogs and the Texas Longhorns are playing today, and I am ugga all the way. F those Longhorns. Hate burnt orange. Back to where I was going. So, there's one statistic. Oh yeah, but it's by a government agency. What do you expect? They're going to say whatever. Okay. All right. Well, then let's try another one. How about Stanford University? The Stanford University out on the West Coast, where Condoleezza Rice is provost of the law school. Very prestigious law school, very prestigious university. Well, back over the summer, so just a few months prior to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, Stanford came out with their own study. What did they find? Okay, well, here you go. The Stanford study found, this is paraphrasing, the Stanford study found that working from home increased productivity by 13%. Oh, shit. That went the wrong way. It was supposed to decrease productivity because people are being slugs laying on the couch. No. This was a study that was done with employers and employees. And the employers said they got more work and better work out of their employees when they let them work from home than having them in the office. Damn. That's what I've been saying. I was saying it a month ago before I even looked up the studies. Why? Because number one, I got a law degree. Number two, I've been in the working world for 40 something years. And I'm smart enough to know that if you give people a benefit, some of them, as in everything, some of them will take advantage, but the average person, if they're getting a benefit, they're going to be appreciative of it and they're going to want to do more. I did notice there is that little spot right up there. You can see that was when I pulled it out of the paper. It was like that. Not what I expect from Arturo Fuente, but it's not infecting the smoking at all. So, what else did it say? It found that 77%, more than 3/4 of remote workers were more productive. Holy shit. Well, that blows the 30% out of the water by 7%. You're welcome. Fuck around with me. I'll fuck you up in a debate. And, let's just carry this on. Let's just carry it on. Step further. 30% of remote workers actually produced more work in less time. Elon, Vivek, DC Drano, give me a call. I got some answers for you. Now, it does say that there are other studies out there that have found that, this is just, you play both sides here, that have found, or actually not found, just suggest that fully remote workers are 10% less productive than those working on site. Okay, so if they have 10 reports to do, they got 9 of them done. All right, but still, we're not talking about 30% of employees being complete slugs, sitting on the couch, eating bonbons, watching Jerry Springer reruns, or new episodes of The View, whatever. I'll tell you this, there are far more people in the government that, this is just from my own personal experience, and when I'm talking government, I'm talking government-wide, that voted for Donald Trump than voted for Kamala Harris. Shit, why is that? Because they know which side their bread's buttered. You're always going to do better with Republican administrations than you are with Democrat administrations. Now, let's keep going. Forbes. Now, we're on to somebody completely new now. Forbes. Business gurus, right? Forbes magazine. Forbes. Not Michael. He's a dumbass. But Forbes found of those who work from home 100% of the time, they are 20% happier than those that don't. And yet, we're told that this will be just a complete failure. That all these, if we don't get these workers back in the office, the government's going to grind to a halt. And we can get them all back in the office, we're going to lose 30% of them to, they're going to quit their jobs and go out in the private sector. No, they're not. Now, this is a little bit more vague, but we're going to just throw it out there. And there was still other studies that found that people that work from home at least monthly, so maybe they work from home 1 or 2 days a week, every month. It's not cyclical. That they are 20% happier than those that don't. Happy employees, 24% happier and more productive than those that don't. So now there was yet other studies that said the hybrid model, where you work some from home and some not, that it really was kind of a wash. They weren't really more productive or less productive, But I can tell you, living here in the DFW area, just saving the commuting costs is worth it. I mean, I know when I used to drive to downtown Dallas, it was like a 55-mile round trip, and I had a Dodge Ram V8. Yeah, I was spending $75 a week in gas. Then if you drive the tollway, you have toll charges. When you work from home, at least part of the time, not only does it just make you happier because, much more enjoy being in your house than you do, being out on the road or, whatever. In my case, after getting deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan, I think every car around me is about to blow up. But anyway, so now Gallup came out with a study, and this is one of the things why these people keep parroting all this stuff. And I know that some of it is just they're not really thinking about what they're parroting, they're just parroting. Gallup found that in 2019, before COVID, people who preferred to work from home at least part of the time increased over the prior year by 40% in the year 2000. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading this wrong. It increased by 40% between 2019 and 2022. It went from 54% preferred working from home in 2019, now 94%. This is not just federal workers. This is across the spectrum, public and private, 94%. So I know that 6% of the people, 6% of the workers are not the ones on there saying that, oh yeah, we need to drive these fucking employees back in the office. No, there's a whole bunch of them that are doing that they're working from home. Good enough for me, but not for thee. Isn't that what we hear from the Democrats? I've heard, I love the John Travolta Santa commercial. It's hilarious. I love it. He's in there doing the Saturday Night Fever in his Santa costume. It's great. But anyway, all right. So now that we know that this whole working from home thing is just, you're not productive, whatever. That's all bullshit. Let's look at a little bit. Well, here, I'm going to say this, and we'll get this quick story out of the way first, because this is directly government employee related, but related to working on site. You all know that I'm retired military, and I spent 21 years in, and I was sent to a particular naval air station on the East Coast 2 or 3 different times. And I'd be there for 2 weeks, and I always worked in the same warehouse where trucks would come in, stuff would be pulled off the trucks, put in the warehouse, and then there were other people that would be building up pallets of stuff to be shipped out, either by plane or back onto trucks to go out. And every time I was there, every time over the course of 12 years, there was this one guy. Never met him, didn't know his name. I just knew him. I just knew him by his looks. He worked in this warehouse. We worked from 7 at night till 7 in the morning. That was my shift. He'd come in. He would be at the safety briefing. We had to be there 15 minutes early to go through a safety briefing. And then after safety briefing, it didn't take me very long to notice that, where'd that guy go? Oh, he's in the break room. And then you happen to wander into the break room, after a while to get a snack or whatever, and you're like, shit, he's still in the break room. And then about 10 o'clock or so at night, you'd see the break room lights go off. Shit, he's still in there. He's laying down. He's sleeping. So finally, I'd only been there a few days, and I asked a guy, I'm like, this is the first time that I noticed him. And it was the first time I went there. And I asked this guy, I'm like, what's that dude do? He goes, oh, he checks in trucks. Trucks come in. He checks the manifest and makes sure everything is accounted for. Oh, okay. He's not doing that? They're like, oh, no, we don't get trucks before 4 a.m. Well, what the fuck does it do the rest of the time? Well, you're looking at it. It can't do anything else? No, we're all union employees. If he does anybody else's job, then he gets paid. And then that person gets paid for the time that they're working. Plus, they can file a time in lieu, and they can get paid for the hours he worked. So they could get paid twice for the same job. A job that they didn't do. 3 times I was there. 3 times he was there doing the same thing every time. So you can't tell me it's just people that work from home are slugs and they don't produce and all this. They're going to be everywhere. There's going to be some that work from home that ain't actually working, and there's going to be some on site that ain't actually working. The problem is performance-based employment. That's where the big disconnect is, not the work from home. In my job, I'm required to produce a certain amount. And if we get a big influx of work, then my output's expected to go up. May even have to work overtime. But you're going to have people that you need to just be able to get rid of them because they're not going to produce. Now, we'll move a little past that. Now, this is the part that I just wasn't exactly completely ready to tackle, but I was going to go ahead and do it anyway. And that is, we've got a whole effing lot of shit that needs to be cut, that it is much higher on the list than getting federal employees back. Oh, hang on. This is kind of the same thing, but it's going to kind of also work with that. All right. This is what happens when I don't have notes already. I started saying this about a month ago, and then after about 2 weeks, because I was tagging Vivek and Elon and Doge in it, and all of a sudden, they started kind of sprinkling stuff like that in there, and I was like, yeah, see, I'm onto something. Told you. And that is, the federal government currently has 460 million square feet of leased office space. 460, comma, 000, comma, 000. And they spend $8 billion a year on lease payments. Now, if they continue to let those that can and those that produce to work from home, there are certain jobs that can't work from home. It just can't happen. It's just not in the job description. There's just no way you're going to be able to do it. It's like, say, administrative staff, and their job is, making sure that there's office supplies and all this kind of stuff. They got to be there because they don't know, otherwise there's going to have to be somebody there to tell them, So yeah, they have to be there. A mechanic. Mechanic is not something you can phone in. You got to be there, right? But if you're writing legal briefs or you're producing training material, whatever the thing is, that is stuff you don't have to be in the office for. You can do that from home. Now, here's the real clincher, okay? Number one, if you could shed yourself of even half of that space, you've now saved the country $4 billion a year, okay? If you bring all 100% of federal workers back into the office, it's going to cost the government an additional $7 billion a year estimate in utilities, maintenance, carrying costs, because broadband for all the workers that are now in the office working on the network, right? Your electricity goes up, your water goes up, everything goes up, right? So now, not only are you still paying the $8 billion, but you're paying another $7 billion a year in that kind of stuff. Okay, well, that's not saving any money. You say, well, if that 30% of people quit, still, what are you talking? 12 billion a year? 10 billion a year? Let the fucking people that can work from home. I may not look like it with my Stetson on, smoking my cigar, having it clenched in my teeth, but I am a 21st century guy. Actually, according to Jimmy Buffett, I was born in the wrong century, but I'm a pirate that's now looking at 60. But anyway, so you're going to cost more money to get the federal workers back in the office. But there are people out there that parrot this stuff, and when you challenge them on it, then you really get it boiled down to the nitty-gritty. And that is that it's not about saving money for them. It's about, number one, supporting what's been said. And number two, punitive against federal employees. Because if they're a federal employee, they must be a piece of shit. And they need to have their ass back in the office. That's not helping anything. Not helping anything. It's not saving any money. There are hundreds of thousands of employees that work for the federal government that do an outstanding job. She's still over there arguing with this fucking dog. I've been on 33 minutes. She's been arguing with him the whole time. I'm like, treat your dog like a dog. I mean, my dog is spoiled as she can be, but she minds. I treat her like one of my children. If you do something grand, I'm going to praise you. I'm going to give you treats. If you do something bad, I'm going to whap you on the nose with a little rolled up newspaper. And I mean a really little one. She did something the other day that I didn't like. And I literally, of course, she knows when the little magazines, it's usually my cigar magazines because they're really thin. And I didn't even hit her with it. I just touched her nose. I went, no. And she looked like, oh, Daddy, I'm sorry. She also knows when I'm upset. Like, not with her. Like, something's going on. She may not even hear me. I may just be sitting there stewing on something. She'll come up and lay her chin on my thigh and look up at me with those beautiful little silver lab eyes. Want me to pet her. Makes me feel better. I'm a 90% disabled veteran. I'm ate up with PTSD. I do have a lot of days. That's why it really works better for me to work from home. All right, now we can move on. I've already gone over my 30 minutes, but I am determined to get this wrapped up in 9 minutes, so I'm well under. Mandatory outlays on a yearly basis with the federal government are 3.8 trillion. That's a lot. That's mandatory outlays. All right. Major healthcare programs, 1.5 trillion. Medicaid, Medicare, and other. Social Security, 1.3 trillion. Old age and survivor benefits are basically 1.2 of that, and disability payments are 150 billion of that. Maybe even 150 million. It's just the commas mess me up. But anyway, now I am a definite proponent of Social Security should not be taxable. If you work your entire life and the government forcefully takes money out of your paycheck and then they want to give it back to you 40 years later and then take part of it every year when you file your income tax return, that's wrong. It wasn't taxable before the 1980s. It needs to go back to that. Sorry, I'm looking at me. I'm not looking. I try to look up at the camera, but anyway, it's on my iPad and it's oblong. Anyway, look at some of this other stuff. The Department of Defense is a huge amount of our spending, and it should be. I am a peace through strength guy. I don't want to be involved in all the little dust-ups around the world, but I want to have the best trained, best equipped, best fighting force in the world. And if you come mess with us, we punch you in the effing mouth. And that will make you not come mess with us. And I'm also we shouldn't be giving money to all these other countries around the world, to the United Nations, to this place and that. Hey, where'd it go? To this place and that place. Where's my button at? Damn it. Yeah, now my, okay. All these different countries in the world, Qatar, Somalia, I don't know, Bangladesh, wherever. We shouldn't be giving all this money out to them. Why? Because most of these places hate us. Why should we be giving them money if they hate us? They're still going to hate us. It's not like we're buying their love. So the only place, and I've had people challenge me on this before, the only place I believe we should be sending money to is to Israel. Why? Why Israel? Well, because our entire nation, our system of laws, our Constitution, it's all based on Christian principles. It is. Whether you like it or not, it is. And that is Israel. That's where it started. And Israel is surrounded by actual enemies that they chant death to the little Zionist and Satan. Death to the little Satan and death to the big Satan. Death to the little Satan is Israel. Death to the big Satan is us. And Israel, they've been fighting wars for 2,000 years and they ain't lost one yet. That's the person I want. That's the country I want on my side. France, they ain't never won a war since like the 1700s. They ain't won nothing. So I'd rather have Israel. And I thought about this today. I was thinking about this on the way home from the liquor store. I'm like, you go to Israel and you'd be like, look, we got this problem in X country. We need this person or this group taken out, and they hate you. So we'll give you X amount of money to help your, defense and whatever. You go do the work for us. We've just outsourced it. We've helped Israel, and we've also helped ourselves. Oh, he did catch that. And oh, shit, that looked like he was in bounds. That looks like he's in bounds. I don't know. That apparently they are. I guess they're looking at the replay. Oh, I think he was in bounds. Catch, first down. It's 6-3. Uh, damn Longhorns are ahead. I need them to score a touchdown. Georgia's defense is tough. Killed Texas last time, earlier in the year. So I need them to get a touchdown so they got some breathing room, and then just let that defense hold the line. All right, but anyway. So I agree. There are all kinds of places that we can cut money out of the federal budget. There are certain departments that we can probably get rid of. Now, I know they have bandied about the Department of Education for a while. And I agree with that. We need to find a place to cut a couple of $1 trillion. And I think that, they always talk about the deep state. And this is the other kind of point I wanted to make, was that the deep state doesn't necessarily mean the entire federal workforce. Most of the deep state, the people that are making these decisions that, like putting Tulsi Gabbard on the no-fly list or whatever, that come up with the Russia collusion hoax and push it through the FBI, all this kind of stuff. That's not done at the GS 13, 12, 11, down in those areas. No. There is a certain amount of people that are, and I probably don't even need that now. I'm just going to BS for the next 2 or 3 minutes. Ha ha! Georgia's up. Yeah. Woo. Go Uga. Fucking hate the Longhorns. But stop sending money overseas. Stop spending millions, hundreds of millions, potentially even billions collectively on stupid shit like the mating habits of the Japanese red-breasted swallow or whatever. There's so much crap. Public broadcasting. MSNBC. Public broadcasting. It's the same thing, right? Same thing. There's millions of dollars, billions of dollars out there that can be shaved away, and we can get our country back on the path financially that it needs to be on. But if you put a whole bunch of people out of work, it's going to raise your unemployment rate. There's another election in 2 years, and there's going to be a lot of Republicans on the ballot. And I can pretty much guarantee you that all of those people that lost their jobs, they're going to be voting for somebody else. Now, I'm a libertarian. I generally vote Republican for the president. Maybe I like Ted Cruz. I think he's a good senator. I agree with his border stance and all that kind of stuff. John Cornyn, he's a piece of crap. I wouldn't vote for him if matter of fact, I didn't vote for him. I don't even think he was on the ballot this time. I know I voted for Cruz. But other than that, if there's a libertarian on the ticket, I vote for a libertarian. So I hope you've maybe gotten a little bit out of this. I know I've done a little bit of rambling, but I did have some studies and stuff that is actually information, not just my own thoughts. Hardcore facts. Really, what I'm wanting you to do is don't just parrot what other people say just because. Think about it and go do your own research and see what you come up with. It's not always what other people are parroting. You know, I mean, I would hate to think that hundreds of thousands, if not a million, federal employees lost their jobs because of shit that people said that wasn't correct. It's just me. But I care. I care about our country and I care about our citizens. And that includes the federal workforce. They're people just like anybody else. Whether you work for Walmart or PricewaterhouseCoopers or Intel. Intel has 150,000 remote workers. It's obviously working for them. You know, it's the 21st century and it is a fantastic benefit for those that get to partake in it. And since the government can't pay like Intel can pay, if you want to get good people, you have to offer them good benefits. And probably the best benefit is the benefit of being able to work from home. I know in my instance, it allows me to take my daughters to school every day because I can get them to school and get back home and get online and do all my check-ins, because I have to do more than one, at the appropriate times. I get to spend time with my daughters, just us in the truck. But if I have to drive an hour and a half into the office, I don't get to spend that time with them. Do you want to get to spend more time with your kids? That kind of starts hitting home, doesn't it? It did for me. So, and then on like Friday night, I work from the office one Friday night and I work from home the other Friday night in a pay period. Go ahead and turn this off. If I can figure out how to do it. There we go. It's a little dark now, but you know, anyway. So that means one Friday night, my wife is a school teacher. So two Friday nights a month, every other Friday night, I am home when she gets home. If we want to go somewhere, doesn't have to wait for me to drag home. It's a great benefit. I get to spend more time with my family and still get to make a living and enjoy the fruits of my labor. So just think about what you're saying and what you're parroting. And is it reasonable or is it not reasonable? Oh, come on, sack it, son of a bitch. Sorry. Oh, 4th down and 15. Longhorns are going to have to punt that son of a bitch away. Yeah. Bury his ass in the grass. I wish that was Manning, but I think it was Urs. Don't like him either. All right. Well, I've gone over my time again as far as 45 minutes. But I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. I hope you all have a great weekend. It is rainy and chilly here in Texas, but I'm enjoying the afternoon, getting to spend it with you and watch Texas get beat, hopefully. Be sure to follow me on X and YouTube, The Political Patriot. And on The Political Patriot, there is a link in the bio to some wonderful libertarian gear that I hawk as an affiliate. It's not my stuff, but I get you a discount on it if you follow the link and use my other podcast name, Sticks and Stones, STICKS, STONEZ. It's either 1 or 10. If you go to the bio on Twitter, it'll show you. It's either 1 or 10, but it gets you a discount. So get you some fine libertarian gear. The Libertarian Party is growing and getting stronger every day. But until we get to be together again, remember, freedom